It was a cold, frosty morning on October 10th, 1943. Pilot Robert Rosie, Rosenthal, arrived for the day's mission briefing, joining 60 other pilots and navigators from the 100th Bomb Group, including his co-pilot, Winifred Pappy Lewis, and navigator, Ronald Bailey. "All right, let's get this over with. Lights, your target today is Münster. Our previous targets were factories, but not this time. Your target today is the cathedral in the old town." A murmur of shocked faces spread through the briefing room. Lewis and Bailey exchanged incredulous glances. "Yes," exclaimed Major John Egan, the leader of the 100th Bomb Group, from the front. Many of the men, Egan included, had lost close friends on previous missions. The pain of their loss led some to view such a mission as a justifiable act of revenge. "Fuel pressure, oil pressure, all looks good," a voice confirmed. Münster was home to a large number of German railway workers, crucial for their war plans. "We'll arrive just in time for Sunday Mass. I'm not sure how I feel about this," Lewis confessed. "Come on, Pappy. You know it's our duty," Rosenthal replied. One by one, the B-17s of the 100th Bomb Group took to the air. The Royal Flush assumed its position at the very rear of the formation, a spot everyone on board knew was particularly exposed and dangerous, though dwelling on it wouldn't make it any better. "This won't be a cakewalk. Intelligence reports indicate over 500 fighter aircraft are waiting along the route to intercept us. You can also expect extremely heavy anti-aircraft fire over the target. You will be part of a 274 bomber formation, with Major Egan serving as the commanding pilot for the group. Land ahead. Engines are losing power, returning to base. Egan, another one down. Damn it. Radio operator, log that. And another one turning back. Lucky devils. To facilitate your attack, you will have 216 P-47 Thunderbolt escort planes joining you over the Netherlands and protecting you throughout the mission." The air armada flew over Holland and into Germany, now undeniably deep within enemy territory. "Where are our fighters? Gunners, do you see any Allied fighters in the distance?" "Negative. Nothing at 6 o'clock. Nothing. Left flank, nothing. They're not coming, are they? If they were, they'd be here already. Maybe they're just delayed and catching up." What they didn't know was that the escort wasn't just delayed. No fighters would come at all. The weather at their bases had prevented their takeoff, leaving the bombers even more vulnerable. But with or without escort, they had no choice but to press on. As they pushed deeper into enemy territory, more reports of attacks filtered in. Scattered groups of fighter aircraft engaged the front of the formation, shooting down several B-17 bombers. "Everyone keep your eyes peeled. Pilots, do you see that?" A cloud of fighters appeared in the distance. The enemy interceptors had arrived. "Good luck. See you in a few hours. Open fire. Show them what we've got." In a flash, a swarm of Me-109s and FW-190s tore through the formation. The guns of the flying fortresses roared to life, lacing the air with tracer rounds, while German fighters unleashed their deadly 20mm cannons. "They're coming for you, Stanley." Moments later, Me-110s appeared from behind. Bandits, 6 o'clock, low, swooping in and firing rockets. The sky was a bewildering maelstrom of aircraft and projectiles. The large fortresses attracted bullets like magnets, yet enemy fighters also erupted in flames. A rocket struck the lead B-17 of the 100th Bomb Group, the Mademoiselle Zigzag, piloted by Major Egan. 2 of its engines failed, and a gaping tear appeared in the fuselage. Damn it. Damn it. We're losing thrust." Egan was helpless as his bomber struggled, eventually losing contact with the formation. Slowly, the distance to the others grew. They were becoming isolated. "We can't keep up. Tell the others to leave us behind. The radio's out. We have no contact." Unaware of the Mademoiselle Zigzag's plight, the bombers directly behind her also slowed and lowered their altitude to maintain formation. The planes behind them did the same, a catastrophic chain reaction. "There are 2 more, at 2 o'clock. Initially, no one noticed, too focused on the battle, but soon, the widening gap in their ranks became obvious. "We're falling behind. Why? The gap is getting dangerously wide. Accelerate." "Leader, do you hear me?" "Egan." Confusion spread, and the pilots faced a difficult decision: remain in a small formation with their comrades, or leave them behind and catch up with the larger group. Two of the 100th Bomb Group's flying fortresses attempted to catch up, throttling to full power and racing towards the larger formation. Aboard the Royal Flush, at the very rear, the two pilots evaluated the bewildering situation. The formation's breaking apart. We're falling back. There's nothing we can do. If we fly through that gap alone, all the Germans will pounce on us. They decided to stay. The Germans quickly spotted the isolated group of 11 B-17s and descended upon their prey. Damage mounted rapidly. Several B-17s streamed smoke trails, their machine gunners completely overwhelmed. The men of the Royal Flush could only watch as an FW-190 swooped in and struck one of their comrades on the wing, triggering a massive fireball. Their friends bailed out just in time before the bomber completely lost control and exploded into 1,000 pieces. Shortly after, a second B-17 caught fire after being hit by multiple 20mm rounds. We're dropping like flies. We're 3 minutes out. Another B-17 was set ablaze by fighters, its wings and fuselage shredded. Fearing the approaching anti-aircraft fire, the pilot veered away from the formation and flew back alone. "Where are you going?" But this only attracted more fighters. Heavens! They swarmed around him, riddling the bomber, but then let him go to focus on the formation, still heading for the city. The fighters turned their attention to Major Egan in the Mademoiselle Zigzag. Relentless attacks destroyed critical systems one after another, making the fortress increasingly difficult to control. Struggling with the controls, Egan realized they were finished. "Go, get out of here. Bail out." Bail out. The crew began to jump, but the co-pilot stayed behind, helping Egan keep the aircraft stable for the men. "Go on now, go. Quick." Once the men were out, Pilot John Brady and Major Egan prepared to jump from the bomb bay. "You first, Brady. I'm the senior officer." "No, you jump first." But then a fighter appeared from above and opened fire. New bullet holes appeared in the bomb bay door. "See you, Brady." Egan jumped first, followed by Brady. Both made it out. Back aboard the Royal Flush, the gunners fought for their lives, while Rosenthal and Lewis resisted the urge to flee. They held their position, watching as the other B-17s crashed one by one. "I see 1, 2, 3. Outside, a fighter targeted them, firing a volley of rockets at the Royal Flush. One struck the wing directly, tearing a large hole and instantly disabling 2 engines. "Feather the props. Bailey, how far to target?" "Just a little further. We're almost there." The German fighter aircraft peeled away, knowing what awaited the B-17s. The tornado of fighters gave way to a deluge of anti-aircraft shells. With the rest of the formation already gone, all the city's guns were now aimed at the 3 surviving bombers. "Hang in there, boys. We can do this." The flak riddled the remaining aircraft. "They got another one, Rosie." One of them was engulfed in flames and had to drop its bombs prematurely before the crew could bail out of the burning, flying wreck. "We're there. Autopilot on, Bombardier, your plane." "Understood, pilot, my plane." The Bombardier took control of the aircraft. Bomb bay doors open. The target point approached agonizingly slowly. "Almost there. Damn it." The second-to-last B-17 was hit directly and burst into flames, slowly tilting and completely disintegrating on its way to the ground. The Royal Flush was the only one left. "Bombs away. Pilot, the plane is all yours." "Understood, my plane." Rosenthal immediately regained control and maneuvered to evade the flak. "Let's get out of here." They escaped the city's airspace with only 2 engines and heavy damage. "Where is everyone?" "Bandits, 6 o'clock." Several German planes emerged from the clouds. The gunners of the Royal Flush opened fire, but alone. They were easy prey. "Pilot to tail gunner. Make sure you have enough ammo. Everyone hold on." In desperation, Rosenthal abandoned all bomber flying rules and broke into evasive maneuvers. The waist gunners held on tight as the B-17 lurched left and right. They opened fire for a fraction of a second before the bomber executed a sharp turn. 4 FW-190s lined up behind the Royal Flush, chasing the B-17 across the sky. "Willie, they're coming into your firing line." Tail gunner Sergeant Bill de Blasio aimed at the second from the left and fired a volley. On the third fighter, he scored a critical hit, shooting off its left wing. It crashed into its wingman, and both planes plummeted from the sky. He immediately switched to the next fighter, hitting its engine and blowing off its canopy. The last fighter retreated, fleeing de Blasio's deadly accuracy, but the Germans were far from done. 6 more planes positioned themselves behind the bomber. De Blasio opened fire as the twin-engine fighters launched their rockets. Their smoke trails whizzed towards and directly past de Blasio. Miraculously, none hit. He fired back, targeting one of them. The .50 caliber rounds ripped through the German fighter, setting it ablaze. The remaining enemies returned fire, sending a hail of bullets that slammed into the bomber's fuselage, tearing clean through it. 2 waist gunners were hit by shrapnel and fell to the aircraft floor in pain. Schaefer looks bad. Their cries for help echoed over the radio as de Blasio fired with everything he had, his eyes blazing. He aimed across the entire formation, switching from target to target. His bullets struck 2 of the 190s, causing them to lose control and collide. Shortly after, as if by pure luck, the remaining German fighters turned away, running low on fuel. They're turning away. Did we make it? Suddenly, the sky fell silent, and the Royal Flush was still airborne. The sky is calm. They're gone. Someone check on the waist gunners. Radio operator Michael Bakusi left his post and rushed to the middle of the plane, where the 2 gunners lay in pain on the floor. Hang in there. I'm with you. Talk to me, Schaefer. You're going to be okay, I promise. Can we make it back? We're losing altitude. We need to lose weight. Gentlemen, we need to jettison everything that isn't nailed down, and fast. The crew got to work, throwing absolutely everything unnecessary overboard. Weapons, ammunition, oxygen tanks, everything. We've thrown everything overboard. Is it enough? Is it enough, Rosie? I don't know, Pappy. Maybe. Back at Thorpe Abbott's, mechanics and officers watched the sky, waiting anxiously. The scheduled arrival time had already passed. The other bomber groups had returned, but there was no news from the 100th Bomb Group. Then, in the distance, a single B-17 appeared low on the horizon. Smoking and barely flyable, the Royal Flush lowered its landing gear, glided in, and touched down on the runway. The assembled men watched in shock as the heavily damaged aircraft came to a halt. It rolled off the runway and shut down its engines. The silence was deafening. They were the only ones from the 100th Bomb Group to return. Medics rushed to their aid as the crew gathered on the grass. No one celebrated. No one cheered. The reality of what had just happened dawned on them. The attack was one of the worst disasters in the history of the 8th Air Force. The 100th Bomb Group suffered the heaviest losses, earning them the nickname the Bloody Hundredth. Of the 130 men in the shot-down planes, 37 were killed, and 93 became prisoners of war.